Welcome back. Another episode of RX Radio. I'm very excited to have today's guest on, Winston Tramble, aka Coach Smooth. Any of you guys in the Prescript community will certainly know Smooth. For those of you who aren't, you should. Smooth to me is one of the most interesting commentators, educators, coaches, background experience. This is really more of a get to know you. But I think in getting to know Smooth, you start to highlight a lot of values that are successful in the fitness industry. Smooth has a super interesting story. Probably one of the most passionate coaches I've ever come across. His depth of knowledge in our field is unparalleled, and how that manifests itself in a very sophisticated, simple approach based around communication and relationships. I think we all have a lot to learn from Smooth. So huge shout out, Smooth, for coming on the show. I definitely have you back on. If you guys don't, you'll know what I mean when you get to the episode, and do feel free to reach out after. Very, very unique individual when it comes to the coaching space, as an athlete, as an academic, as kind of this forever student, but unwaveringly confident in his approach, and rightfully so. So huge shout out to Smooth. You guys want to check him out on Instagram. I am Coach Smooth on IG, and coachsmooth.com. He's done an incredible job branding himself. And we talk a little bit about that. We talk about kind of there's the story of Smooth as we talk about in the podcast, but there's also like a sub story of branding and business building and trials and tribulations that I think is super useful for someone who's built up his business the way that he has. He's a super interesting academic background, from kinesiology to mechanical engineering. He's a special dude. Really appreciate Smooth's time. Great outlook. Like I said, if you guys ever want to know more, definitely ask. He won't be afraid to tell you, as he'll say in this episode. So huge shout out to Smooth. Now, today's the day. Today's Monday, March, Jesus Christ, I wish. Monday, August 12th. PSL1 is now currently live. So if you guys are on the fence, you guys are on the opt-in list, check your emails. If not, head on over to www.pre-script.com. It will be up on the homepage. So 16 weeks starts September 30th. See what you can do. See the types of change you can make in 4 months with the Prescript community, and then obviously making you eligible for L2 early next year, and then L3 early 2026. That's the proving ground. That's the Thunderdome. That's where coaches are made, in my opinion. But take that first step. PSL1 starts September 30th. Registration now live. If you're on that opt-in list, check your email inbox, and we'll see you in class in a handful of weeks. Guys, enjoy the episode with Coach Smooth. Feel free to reach out. We'll see you guys next week.
You're tuned in to RX Radio
with Pat in Miami.
Yeah.
So that would have been the first time we met in person, right?
That was the first time. Yeah.
So it was Pat Davidson and myself, and we hosted a 2-day thing at Hybrid in Miami. And it was, you could kind of tell who came in by what vector, right? Like who was there because they knew Pat, and we're like, all right, what's this Jordan guy all about? And who was there because they knew me, and like, yo, what's this Pat guy all about? And there was some mutual crossover. Everyone kind of knew or heard of everyone, like Pat. Right? And then you, at the end of the second day, gave this Al Pacino. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember what I'm talking about? You stood up, and the fact that you don't remember this is crazy, because I think about it once a week. I thought about it once a week for 3 years. And it was I don't know, pride's probably not the right word, but it was Pat and I can go off into the weeds. That's where our businesses kind of live, in the weeds. It's people know this about training. We're over here. We think people should and you stood up at the end of the second day. And, we had conversated before. We were familiar with each other when you rocked up. And you just gave a speech to everyone. And it was the third act in the show. It was it was Pat, Jordan, and Smooth. That would have been what the flyer should have said. And you don't remember this? You don't remember this? And dude, you just talked about.
I don't remember everything I said though.
You just you stood up and you were Pat and I just kind of finished, and you're like, hey, and everyone was like, whew, you hear a pin drop, and you were standing at the back of the room, and you're basically the fact that's great, but we got to work together. You remember now?
Yeah. Holding everybody.
That's it. And it was to me, I was man, I don't think I've ever heard it put that way before, especially in our industry. When did you, I mean, I want to go back to the origin stories of like Smooth in general. Cause to me, like I sent an email through and I'm like, Winston, who the fuck is Winston? I'm like, I assume the driver's license says Smooth on it. Like, so I want to go back, but I want to kind of like, I don't want to go all the way back right away. Cause I do want to get, this has been on top of mind for like 3 years. Like, when did you start considering that as like the preeminent thing? Like, you're sitting in a room with a bunch of guys talking about the nuances of lifting weights, and you're like, hey, you idiots are kind of forgetting the most important thing. When, like, was there you always like that as like a child, or is this something that's developed through observing? Oh, you have been. Like, when did you come online like this?
Baby, I've been like that since a baby. Like, just the household I grew up in. So my daddy's a pastor and a military veteran, Vietnam Desert Storm. My mother, she's a retired educator. Then my daddy's he's an engineer as well. So I grew up like building houses, building cars, and my daddy like all that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just always been there. Like, I've always, especially the environment that I grew up in, like, I grew up in a racial environment. You dig what I'm saying? So I remember 1st through 5th grade, I'm the only black kid. So it's like I had to make a step to be able to step out, to be able to stand out. You know what I'm saying? So my academics was that. So I got presented the opportunity to skip 2nd and 4th grade when I was in elementary school. So my folks, it was like, nah, you know, we're going to stay in this grade, whatever the case may be. But I've always been, because my parents are older, so like my daddy, like he about to be 75, my mama about to be 73. So like I was always raised by older people. So, and then being raised the only child as well, I'm used to doing things on my own. You get what I'm coming from? But then it just comes a point in time to where it's like everybody needs somebody. And that's my message that I was like talking about that day, you know, we was at the seminar. Everybody needs somebody, and like we need to have some type of togetherness, because we have too many individuals who combating each other and arguing against each other. And this is like, we're all professionals. And that's what causes a lot of the miseducation when you have two qualified individuals who knick-knacking and jaw-jacking back and forth with each other. You know what I'm saying? So like, I started lifting, I was 12. So I built my own weight bench. I went out to the yard. I used to fill up buckets with like, you know, water, dirt, or whatever the case may be. And like, that's what really started it for me. You know what I'm saying? And I started coaching when I was 15. So my coach, he ran professionally. You dig what I'm saying? And the stable of athletes who he had at that time, he had some Olympians who was in our training group. So knowing that I wanted to coach, he threw me out there in the fire. He was just like, hey, boy, like, you know what to do, go get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really started things for me. You know, and I've always been a very passionate individual. Like, I want to be the best at what I do. I don't care if I am the best, but I just want to be the best that I possibly can be. You get where I'm coming from? And it's like, I want to challenge people to be the best that they can be as well. You dig? So yeah, like 12 years old is really weight-wise when everything started. But like academically, I've always been like that since I've been a shorty. Like everything just always clicked for me.
Do you feel like, you know, nature versus nurture? Because I don't think it's a scenario that most people listening can really understand. Like, do you remember being in elementary school and having that feeling? Like, I am the only black kid here.
Yeah.
What was that? Now, like, where? What's that?
I was constantly reminded, like, I didn't get into gifted programs and accelerated the AP till I got to high school. Like, I was always pushed out of those programs. Like, I always tested out. Like, so in Georgia, we had our exit exam to the next grade was the CRCT. I'm going to take this out because I'm talking with a list. So our exit exam was the CRCT. You dig what I'm saying? And I always tested perfect. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, I had to take that individual test 3 times a piece, each grade, because it was always perfect score. And then one year, they had 4 questions on there that didn't have the correct answer. So I had to write in the answer. I'm like, hey, yo, like, y'all don't have the right answer choice. You know what I'm saying? So boom. And then it was just like, bro, like, what's going on with Buddy? But it's like, to give you a little bit of like backstory as far as like, I love Legos. You dig? And that's what my parents, they really figured out, like, yo, dude cold. So like I was like 6 years old and I had 3 boxes of Legos. So I had a rock. No. I had a plane, I had a car, and I had a boat. And I was watching a commercial on TV. I'll never forget this. I'm like 5, 6 years old. I'm watching a commercial and I see a spaceship. And I'm like, dang, that's just hard. Like, I want that. So I just got all the boxes, dumped all them things out. Whoa. So I'm just looking. And I look at the commercial and I look at the commercial. Commercial only 20, 30 seconds, so it's gone. I started putting things together. Woo, woo. So my mama, she come in, she was like, oh, baby, that's nice. What are the instructions for that? And I was just like, I saw it on the TV. She was like, wait. So she looking and she just like, yo, like, you looked up there and then you built that and then that was, yeah. So that's when my parents really tried to start putting me into gifted classes. But it's like, bro, like I'm a talker. I've always been a talker because I've been public speaking since I've been 3 years old. I became a professional speaker at 9. You feel me? So talking, like, I'm not shy. I always do it and I'm used to it. You feel me? So in school, I would get done with my work hella fast. And the first thing that I would do, I talk. And I would always get in trouble because I was talking. So that was the key factor to keep me out of the gifted programs and to keep me out of the accelerated and the honors programs and all that.
And it didn't like, I hear both of those things and I see two different fates.
Mm-hmm.
And I see most of people going the other way. Like I see most people who are like, well, I wasn't shy as a kid, but I got in trouble for talking, so I stopped talking. Or, I wasn't ever included, or I wasn't ever included in a team. I was, shunned, whether race or religion or whatever. And that's why I don't work well in teams because of that. Like, what is, and there's so many different rabbit holes I want to go down with you, but like, that's something that not only like the behaviors stick out, but now it's even more unique of how the behavior came about. Like, what was it, do you think, that you diverted away from both of the common paths that people would take? I was in trouble and scoring for talking, and you're just like, I'm not going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking forever, rather than doing what most people do. And then the flip side of that again is like, you were siloed at a young age, and you went the other way again. Why? Like, why? I don't understand.
I knew I had a gift. Like, I just knew that since I've been a shorty. Like, I knew I had a gift. And it's like, I watched my mama and my daddy pour into me. Like, my mama and my daddy, like, they're my dogs, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of folk can't say that. And that makes it all the more valuable that I can say that. You dig where I'm coming from? So it's like, seeing how much they pushed me to excel, especially like my mama, like, she's a media specialist librarian. So it's like, you had summer reading assignments, and then you had my mama. So like every book in her library at school, I read all that. I'm first grade reading on 9th grade level. So it's just so many things that I saw at an early age to know, like, yo, like, Smooth, like, you dead ass got a gift. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of the kids, they wasn't trying to go the route that I was going. Like, I didn't really get invested in the sports until like late middle school, early high school. You know what I'm saying? So like growing up, well, like my cousins and my brothers and whatever, like I be the one, I'm in the crib. I'm in the crib reading. You did what I'm saying? Like they got to make me go outside. You feel me? And it's like, again, I'm used to doing shit by myself. So it's like, I don't give a fuck if you come with me at night. You dig where I'm coming from? So when it came to, of course, yeah, I got made fun of coming up for like talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, they used to pick this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I never treated nobody bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, even at my 10-year reunion, and like this shit right here, I'm gonna make sure this clip go on Facebook. Them motherfuckers hated seeing me because I was skinny as fuck. I was skinny as fuck when I was a shorty. You know what I'm saying? So I went through the whole getting bullied thing, this, that, the third, or whatever. But it's like, I mean, my mom and daddy, like, they just raised me to be strong. They didn't raise me to be no hoe. Especially getting raised by older people, like, man, you better figure that shit out. You dig where I'm coming from? So I didn't mistreat people. Like, I didn't give people a reason to actively dislike me or hate me. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why you could really dislike me is because I talk a lot. I ain't never call you out your name. I was never the kid that would cuss adults out or speak ill to their elders or anything of that nature. I ain't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, life is bigger than you. Like, you're not just representing you. Like, you represent the people who are around you. You represent the people who instill positivity and who instill love into you. Like, you represent them. You did what I'm saying? And then when the day that they transition and they no longer here, that representation is that much larger because that's a legacy. A lot of motherfuckers got names, but not everybody got a legacy. You did what I'm saying? So it's like, one day, I'm not going to be here no more. I say that to all my clients, my athletes, whatever the case may be. I always tell them, I'm not gonna be here no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? So while I am here, I want to be as impactful in a positive way that I can. And I want you to be a representation of that. So dating back to when we was at the seminar and everything, that's along the lines of what I was saying. I'm like, yo, like our clients, not athletes, our patients, some of us who deal with armed forces, so our soldiers, they represent us. You know what I'm saying? They represent how we teach. They represent how we educate. So that's something that was instilled in me when I was a shorty. So that's always been a standard, always.
It's funny because you mentioned your father's an engineer. My father's also an engineer, and
Yeah.
as I get older now, like I'm in my mid-30s, and it's like I can now at 34 look back and see the traits of my parents that make me somewhat good at what I do. I hope at least any positive stuff I get from them, obviously. The intersection of what your parents do for a living is super interesting because of how ever present they seem to be in the way that you communicate and the way that you carry yourself. How you've obviously given your parents like flowers so far in the conversation, but how old were you and what was the process like? We all have issues when we're kids, and like I got grounded by my mom. I'm sure I've told my mom that I've hated her before. Like I was probably like 4 and I didn't really know what the word meant. But like, how early on did you start to recognize, like, okay, that your situation is different, or that your parents are something that is worth kind of representing into a legacy, and when did that start shaping your behavior?
It's four.
Four.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pre-K kindergarten. I'm telling you, bro, like the school I went to, like you gonna learn that shit real quick, bro. You gonna learn like, yeah, is that your granddaddy? No, like that's my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna learn real quick, especially like you in a predominantly white environment, like motherfucker like grandparents coming up to your ass like with bullets and writing your initials on them and talking about, hey, if you ever fought with my granddaughter, like this bullet gonna find you. You know what I'm saying?
Shut up, dog. I got to stop you right there. Say what did you just say?
They'll write your initials, like if you black, they'll write your initials on the bullet and they'll be like, if you ever fuck with my granddaughter, this bullet will find your ass. Like real shit. A lot of this shit that my mom and my daddy went through, like when they was coming out, like civil rights movement or whatever, like, yeah, we experienced some of that when I was coming up. You did what I'm saying? So it's like, your outlook on life, it changed and it's different. And it's like just the magnitude of my parents. Like my parents are very well known. They're very, very, very extremely respected. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, ain't no stepping wrong. So it's like, I don't know how to do anything but be me. Like a lot of people be like, you act just like your daddy. You laugh like your daddy. Who the fuck am I supposed to act like? LeBron James? That ain't my daddy. My dad is my daddy. You deal what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna say my daddy name just because motherfuckers crazy. Like even right now, a lot of people, they didn't even know my real name. I go by Winston and I go by Vaughn. Vaughn short for Lavon. You know what I'm saying? But it's like people crazy as hell. You did. So
Yeah.
I've always gone by smooth. You feel me? But yeah, I was about 4. I was 4 years old when that shit it really just locked in. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I have vivid memories of when I was a shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like I gave my first speech when I was 4 in front of 300 people. Like I remember all that shit. I remember everything when I was in elementary school. So it's like being 29, especially moving towards moving towards the age of 30, like you start thinking about shit more. You get what I'm saying? Cause like 30, being 30, that's the first decade that you got to where you're not a kid. You feel me? Like all through growing up, you a kid. Even when you in your early 20s, you a kid. You fresh out of high school, you early off in college, you just now getting out the crib. You really just starting to figure shit out for yourself. You feel me? So when you hit 30, that's big boy leagues. That's just like, all right, like, this it. You feel me? And it's like, I don't necessarily look at it as like, I don't look at it as like pressure. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same point in time, I look at it like there's certain shit that just need to be handled. You know what I'm saying? And I think like another thing to really, like I know my why. And I've always known my why. Cause my parents, like they've given me the talk ever since I was a little baby, like, we not always gonna be here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, let my daddy tell you, he ain't think he was gonna be here. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, was not to get biblical or anything, but it's like just with the beliefs, like that's what he felt. You feel where I'm coming from? So like, that's why he raised me to be so strong and so just ferocious and just making sure that you stay in your 10. Like, ain't nobody out there better than you. Like, man, fuck all that. Like, they a man just like you. They a human just like you. Handle your business. You get what I'm saying? And don't apologize if you are better than somebody else. Because a lot of times we do that. A lot of times people will come in, oh man, Jordan, you the best at what you do. Jordan, you so fast. Oh, no. I appreciate it, but no. Don't tell me that. Oh, Smooth, you the best at what you do. Motherfucker, I'm glad you see. Goddamn. You deal what I'm saying? But it's like being able to have that confidence in yourself. I've always had that confidence since I was a shorty because ain't nobody gonna love me more than me. Ain't nobody gonna support me more than me. And ain't nobody gonna believe in me more than I believe in myself. If they do, that's a problem. I need to go back to the mirror and I need to have a self-evaluation on that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's been since a shorty, bro. For real.
So I'm curious. Like, I mean, I feel like we all kind of have the answer, but like, where did Smooth come from? When did that the origin story of Smooth?
Nobody got the answer. So I started running AAU track when I was like 14, 15 years old. So I was supposed to be a football player, bro. Like, I know it. Everybody else know it. When I got a concussion my senior year, my coaches, they didn't come out onto the field. Like, we was just little workhorses for them. You did where I'm coming from. They threw my scholarship letters away, all that shit. Like, I didn't find that out until I got the TSU, that they threw my shit away. I had 5 SEC offers. I never do that shit till I got to college. You did where I'm coming from? Because they wasn't gonna front us. They wasn't gonna front it. You feel me? So, yeah, in track, I started running track when I was like in elementary school, like on some rec shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's my first love. So I run rough, bro. Like, I run like a linebacker. I played defensive end and strong side linebacker because we ran a 4-4, so I walked down the line. So, yeah, you know, your boy run stiff and shit. So my teammates, they used to make fun of me. They be like, damn, that boy smooth as hell. And so what happened when we made it to nationals, you know how it is when you get around a lot of people, if you don't know somebody's name, whatever you hear people calling them, that's what you're going to go off of. So it's like, okay, they calling that man Smooth. His name Smooth. So then they started calling me Smooth. So it started out as a joke, making fun of me because I'm really running rough. And that motherfucker just stuck.
I mean, you kind of gave like a bit of rundown. You start lifting at 12, you go out, you make the weight bench. 15, you get thrown in the fire by your coach, friend, track star, Olympians. Now, like, when did this idea start to form of like, okay, this is the legacy. This is how I connect with people. Like, Smooth Fitness is the vehicle of how I'm going to do all the things that I said I was going to do since I was 4. Like, you know, of all industries to get into, to like, you know, to try and build community and build people up and give them the self-confidence that you have. The fitness industry is probably like the hardest one to do that. When did this like solidify itself as an idea and like a trajectory for you?
I was like 18, 19 when I really put it together. I started out a mechanical engineering student. I grew up wanting to be an architect, bro. So like, I know how to do like floor plans, blueprints, like all that shit, you feel me? So I wanted to build. So then I get to college, I start off mechanical engineering at Tennessee State in Nashville. I transferred to Jacksonville State of Alabama. So originally, when I got to TSU, I wanted to go in. I wanted to design prosthetic limbs for soldiers. That's originally what I wanted to do. Just because my daddy, he Army 101st Airborne, like, much respect. So he always said, I don't want you to go into the service. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, okay, well, what about on the civilian side? So he was like, yeah, government contractor, woo, whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. So when I transferred to JSU, they didn't have my discipline of mechanical. They had pre-engineering. And then I had to get my master's in mechanical. But I'm like, man, fuck all that, because I already done took, like, quantum physics, Newtonian physics. I done got down to the Calc 3, so I'm like, I'm not about to go backwards. So I'm like, well, I've already been dealing with athletes. I'm real good with the human body. I'm going to go kinesiology. So that when I switched over to kinesiology, then I re-enrolled back at TSU on some online shit so I could finish off the mechanical engineering. So I got both of those at the same time. So when I got to JSU, like, I just want to run track. And I'm actually the first and only male to run track at Jacksonville State University in Alabama. Because Title IX, we ain't had no men's team. So I had to be able to work in finesse to go ahead and make some shit shake. So they got practice 5 in the morning. I'm popping out that motherfucker at 4. I'm begging the coaches like, hey, please, like, work with me. Like, anything. Like, I don't care if I got to slide y'all some money under the table. I don't give a fuck. Like, help me. And so I was identified as, hey, that's that motherfucker who run track. So when I be in the gym, I mean, shit, like, I came to JSU, like, we squatting 600-700. You know what I'm saying? Like, we deadlifting 600, 15, 20 times. So, like, because that's the type of environment I grew up in, like, off that shit for real. So I'm on that, and I'm getting a lot of attention to them motherfuckers. They try to start working out with me, and I'm like, nah, like, I ain't really into all that. You know what I'm saying? So I sat down one day, I was talking to my daddy, and my daddy was like, hey, man, like, you got so many people coming to you, like help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a gift that you got. Like, really look into it. Like, you real cold with the human body. Your professors, they love you. They respect you. Like, all that, like, think about it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead. I'm gonna start fucking with them. I never will forget. It was this girl named Destiny Montgomery. She asked me to be her fitness coach. I say, you know what? Fuck it, I got you. She's the very first person who ever paid me. Outside of on some athletic shit, she the first person who paid. She paid me $25 a session. I never forget that. And when I was there, the person who was over the rec center, they started trying to chin check your boy. So they in the motherfucker like, hey man, like you can't be bringing people in here and you charging them and this, that, and the third. Like you gonna have to work for this. So like, shit, me being me, I'm like, man, fuck all that. I don't split no bread with nobody. So like, I'll find somewhere else to go. I ain't paying no overhead, no shit. So dude was like, man, here's an ice move. I tell you what. He was like, if you come and you work for us, he was like, you can do whatever you need to in here. So I was like, what you want me to do? He was like, I want you to be one of the fitness instructors. So started out being a fitness instructor. I'm teaching classes. I ended up working my way up to being the head fitness instructor. So like, I'm on that. I'm teaching for the school. I'm running boot camps. I'm in and out of apartment complexes, like all that shit. Whether I got to go to the track, wherever I got to go, that's what I'm on. And then it got to a point to where the apartment complexes, they started getting on some hating shit. So like I remember they used to lock their doors. So I used to go get my homeboys to go into the gym and then crack the window. So they crack the window and then I slide off in that motherfucker about 6, 7 in the morning, sometimes 5, depending on when I got out of practice. I go in that thing, I get my phone, turn the flashlight on, put that bitch up like this right here so it's shining up so a motherfucker can see what they doing. You did what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I was trying to get it. Like I was in undergrad making like 8 bands a month. Like I'm trying to motherfucking get it. And then I started going to Fort McClellan over in Anniston, Alabama. And I'm working people there. That's how I started with armed forces. So when I got to JSU, general population started coming to me. When I started going over to Fort McClellan, and then they heard about my daddy's military background and they knew like what I was knowledgeable on. Boom, I started working with soldiers. I started catching me some government contracts, whatever. And then everything really like started at JSU for me. I started working with pregnant women at JSU. I started working with trauma victims. Especially like when I had my spine surgery. Like me having my spine surgery, that's what made me get into working with trauma victims. So I had lumbar discectomy L5S1. So April 2015. And so the doc, he said, you could get an epidural or you can go ahead and get the surgery. So me and my daddy, we was like, nah, fuck that. Just get the surgery because I ain't about to keep getting shots. Like, come on. And I was 19 at the time, going on 20. So boom, I get that done, whatever. And I go to physical therapy twice. So I go to PT twice in Oxford, Alabama. And, I forget what, champion, some shit like that. And so I ain't really like how they were fucking with me. Like they was treating me like a number and not treating me like a person. And I'm a people's person. So I really wasn't fucking with that shit. So I get to the crib, I was like, hey daddy, like, I don't like how I'm gonna smack the fuck out of these folks. Like, this ain't gonna ride. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he was just like, well, son, you really intelligent and you have a great background in neuroscience. He was like, you have a great background in mechanical engineering. He was like, so you understand movement. So he was just like, I think you can do it on your own. So I did my own recovery. I did my own rehab, like G shit. Like I cut my recovery time down by like 3.5 months. And I never wanted people to feel how I felt because that was a dark ass time, bro. Like I had to teach myself how to be able to like really walk again. Like I had temporary paralysis on my right leg for about 6 months. So it was some shit that I had that they didn't even really, like, they didn't vet me on. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to go and Dr. Google yourself to death. You get what I'm saying? So I just tried to go and honor them and listen to them. So when shit catch me, off the wham, like this happening, that happening, I'm like, I don't want people to feel how I feel, bro. Cause like that's some dark ass shit. So that's when I started working alongside clinicians. So I started handling the strength and conditioning for sports rehabilitation, and it started getting deeper with trauma victims, where it came like head-on collisions and plane crashes and amputees and da da da. So I started that the year after I had recovered. That's when I started working with the trauma victims. And then like my mama being a diabetic, that's how I got off into cardiovascular and chronic disease prevention, because my thing's always been, there's only so much I could do for my folks, cause like I'm their son. You know what I'm saying? So they not gonna look at me as this, this and that. They're gonna look at me like, you my baby boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like that's my why. Like I wanted to be able to help my family. Like same thing with my brother. Like I lost my brother in 2018. Like I wanted to be able to help my brother. Like, I remember when I very first started, like when I first started lifting, I was 12 years old. He the only one who told me, like, bro, like one day you gonna be on TV for this shit. And I was like, word. And then he passed. He was 27 when he passed away. So that's why when I had turned 27, 27 was the year that I went the hardest. I told myself, I'll never forget that shit. I said, I don't care if I live to be 100. Year 27, I'm going to be able to say this is the best year of my life. My brother died in my arms, right on the scene, giving him CPR and all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's just so much shit that like, a motherfucker done really felt. I don't want people to have to go through what I went through, like feel what I feel. You did what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I advocate for people so much. That's why I carry myself the way that I do, unapologetically. You dig what I'm saying? Like we all represent somebody. Like somebody out there can resonate to us. We represent where somebody's been, we represent where somebody is, and we represent where somebody's about to go. So if you can have that understanding in life, you're gonna live a pretty decent life. But like just all these situations define my why. Like I understand why, like my purpose. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like I'm here to save lives. I'm here to curate a positive environment to where people can feel vulnerable enough to grow, and I can grow with them. That's what I'm here for. I'll do that shit womb to the tomb. You know what I'm saying? So like when I turned 29 this year, I told my daddy, because my daddy, he was asking me about my accomplishments. He was like, son, like, you've accomplished a lot. I'm like, daddy, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I've done more in 29 years than what motherfuckers done did in their lifetime. I was like, if I would have died today, I'm cool. And that's on some G shit. And I'll say that right here, right now. Like, if this was it for me, like, I'm cool, bro. Like, I'm proud of every single thing that I've done, all the people that I've touched. That you got to live life like that, bro. Like, you got to live life with a purpose and serve that purpose with full intention. A lot of motherfuckers can know what they do, you know what I'm saying? But not everybody serves that motherfucker out with no regrets. You know, motherfuckers be out here living for the next person. It's just like, bro, like, people will replace you, bro. Them same motherfuckers who you over here trying to impress, half of them can't even look in the mirror at themselves, bro. So that's something that I saw at a very early age. So I'm just like, bro, regardless of what I do, whatever career path that I decide to embark on, I'm never trying to impress somebody. I'm never trying to get somebody's appeasement. Bro, like, as long as I'm handling my purpose and doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm cool. Real shit.
Do you, I mean, like the evolution of breaking into the apartment gyms to getting the job to not have to pay overhead, like the
Sneaking
hustle, getting in with the military, the intersection of of smooth fitness online. Because like this is where, I mean, this would be a sermon at any Sunday church anywhere in the South by itself, devoid of the internet. How is it that, do you remember, like, as part of the process of like, okay, we got the why established, we're doing this in person, we're hustling after track practice, we're going into the facilities, we're in the weight room, but now you're on the internet. Do you remember how has that process been? Because that's an entire new environment, right? That's an environment where, it's not like going up to a military base where your father doesn't have a presence on Instagram, right? Like how did you tackle that? How has that evolved over time? How has that challenged the why or what difficulties? Because like when we were going back and forth, and you were on some bullshit talking about Tampa, but that's another episode. And I kept that voice. I actually didn't keep that voice message because I didn't want you to think that I was going to ever bring it up again. But I know what anyways. But like social, he knows. Social media is a tough landscape to follow for people with no morals or ethic. Right? How is it like, when did you get on? What was it like in the early stages you integrated like your fitness and business on it? How has it evolved? How has it challenged you? Because I think you navigate it so well, in my opinion, and you have such like razor sharp commentary. And I enjoy ever since I followed you, I was like, yo, this guy's the fucking, I don't know why anyone, you should have 10 million followers, 100 million followers. I think you're like the best thing on, so especially in the fitness space. So, but like, how has that evolved for you over time?
Shit, man, when I first started, a lot of motherfuckers, they did not like me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my best friend since pre-K, he's always said, like, when it comes to people, he be like, hey, one thing I can tell you about, bro, you either gonna love them or you gonna hate them. It ain't no in between. So when I got over to social media, it was just that I was loud, obnoxious, I was cocky, arrogant, always cussing. It was all that. You know what I'm saying? So motherfuckers, like, they wanted to tune into my shit, but they didn't want to. And I always told them, no matter what y'all say, and I'm saying this to the camera right now, no matter what y'all say, I be right. Point fucking blank. Whenever I open my mouth, I'm right. I don't be speaking no motherfucking opinions, bro. I speak facts. Science don't give a goddamn about your feelings. Like, what the fuck? So it's like, that's why motherfuckers, like, they want to go and unfollow me, but them same motherfuckers who be, cause I know who be unfollowing me and shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? The same motherfuckers who be unfollowing me, they the same ones still watching my story with your goofy ass. And it's been like that since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So I just moved in the light. I was like, man, I was posting my shit first, like a lot of my workout videos, and people was really liking that because they just like, damn, like, they ain't seen some of the shit that, like, I was doing at that time. It wasn't that popular. Like, you ain't seeing nobody bench 315, 20, 25 times, and you weighing 205 pounds. You ain't seeing nobody jump squat with 500 pounds. Like, that's just what we do. You feel me? So motherfuckers, like, they like tuning in on that. And then I was like, man, no, fuck all that. Like, it's a lot of miseducation going on. I'm just like, bro, like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm about to get in front of this camera. So I used to prop that little phone up, and my videos is like 10 minutes long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was going, and I didn't make no cuts, no edits. So like, if I went 5 minutes in and I fucked up, I start that bitch all the way over until I hit that 10 minute, that 15 mark, whatever. So it's like, things was, I didn't really think about how things really was at the time because I was just enjoying myself and I was just glad to, be putting some shit out there to help somebody. I'm like, I may not be for you, but I may be for somebody else. I don't give a fuck if you tune in tonight. And my philosophy back then, which is still now, motherfucker, you clicked on my face. So I don't give a fuck what you got. You know what I'm saying? But when it really came to diving into the online space, because so much shit's changed from back then to now. Like, I remember writing down workouts on the paper, take a picture of that bitch, and then email it to the client. You feel what I'm saying? I remember you can only email so large of a file on a video, so I'm trying to hurry up in the video and demonstrate the whole workout, and then boom, go and get that to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've actually, because I started using Train Heroic and shit like that a couple years ago, I actually struggled with that. Like, that was actually more work to me having to go through and click this, click that, as opposed to just like, bro, like, I could write this bitch down on this paper, or I could go ahead and on this Excel sheet, woo, woo, woo. And you already know, because you deal with high-level athletes too. I don't give a fuck about them apps. They want this shit right here, right now. I'm gone. I don't want to have to click no shit. I don't want to have to open no shit up. I don't give a fuck about no aesthetics. I just want to get in and get gone. So it's like, we're online, it's been a transition more so in the recent years, but overall, man, I'm just me. Like I tell motherfuckers, like, you see, I'm still in my garage. My garage, my gym. So I tell them over, and they always be like, this is just on a piece of paper. Or, there's no app. Oh, well, you don't have a facility. Bitch, this is my facility. Fuck you talking about? Oh well, I was just, like an actual facility. So I'm like, hey, shout out, look here, you can have this steak on a paper plate or this bologna on fine china. What you want? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to give you what you need. You going off in here trying to get with all these machines and going on this app to get all this shit that you not going to use. Half these motherfuckers, they don't even have the skill set to use the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm a man of simplicity. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And a lot of motherfuckers are getting away from that shit. But that's what sets me apart because I still stay on that shit. Yeah, I know how to go and do all that rah-rah and that XYZ, but man, fuck all that. What works, works. You dig what I'm saying? So my transition for online, like, it's been cool. I just find it ironic that a lot of the things that people hated me for, man, I used to get death threats over this shit, bro. Like, motherfuckers, like, they really didn't like your boy. They really wanted to go ahead and take your boy out. I really got stalked. You hear me? I really got stalked for 6 months, bro, on some G shit. Like, I saw the motherfucker at my door on my porch. I'm from Georgia, baby. Like, we got stand your ground law, so be careful. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, I done did the space is crazy as fuck on some shit sometimes. Cause people just they be so emotional. And they be forgetting that. Cause like, it's another motherfucker on the other side of this keyboard, bro. Like, don't get it twisted, bro. You feel me? Like, the world is big, but that bitch small. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, bro. Like that I saw people, the shit that they get mad at for cussing and yelling, that's what people pushing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like really look at that. Like, social media is becoming TV. Right the fuck now. You went from everybody cussing to now you gotta abbreviate cuss words and bleep them out just to be able to post it to fit into the algorithm. I'm like, bro, like, how fucking crazy is that? Like, you dead ass got people who would get up and they say, man, get your fat ass to the gym, da 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 da. And I've never spoken like that. Never, ever, ever, ever. I'm a blunt motherfucker, but I'm not disrespectful. It's people dead ass getting disrespectful, and it's like, that's what confuses me about the space right now. You know what I'm saying? It's just so clickbaity. And that's why I have an inconsistency when it comes to posting at times, because I don't love it like I used to. You know what I'm saying? I'll be in person all day anyway, because you can't beat a handshake. It's just something about being able to look a motherfucker in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, when me and you met, I made eye contact with you, bro. It wasn't just a, hey, nah, like, what's up? Like, I don't even know if you remember, like, when I shook your hand, I held that motherfucker for a minute. Because I respect you. But now we in person. Now I get to really show you this respect. It's a lot of motherfuckers not built like that. You get where I'm coming from? So the enjoyment of being online and social media, it was already like, but then now it's to a point where it's just like, nah, knock this shit over. But if you really want to excel and really want to advance, you got to get into it, bro. To an extent, you got to get into it.
Well, it's interesting because, like, you have such, I mean, there's a couple of things to differentiate. You have such a personality hard stop, and that some people have an online personality, which, like, to each their own. But you have a personality hard stop that views very well online. That if anyone else were to have even the ability to fake, and not that I say that you can, but to attempt to emulate the energy and the passion, they would jump at the opportunity to. And they would move, like, the trainers have this thing. And I was talking to someone the other day about this, and I want your opinion on it. Like, it's as if training in person is something that they need to work away from. That's like that, like, oh, well, what are you going to do when you're like 40? It's like, what? Like, I'm going to train still. Why would I not do what I do? You ask, like, I forget who I was talking to. They're like, if you ask an accountant at 29 what he's going to do when he's 40, he's going to be like, I'm going to account. I'm going to be an accountant still. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's so interesting. Like, you have all the levers that someone might want to pull, the charisma, the know-how. Yeah, you want to talk XYZ? We can go XYZ. I'm going to be over here, and we're going to put the fucking steak on a paper plate, but we're going to cook, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, what is it about, what is it about in person that keeps bringing you back? Like, obviously you have there's a digital presence, but like, what is that? What draws you to that consistently? Why aren't you like, why don't you fall? I don't know, maybe not victim's the right word, but like, there's people like, oh, I want to, work online and and get out and go travel and do all that, or I work 3-4 hours a week or whatever. Like, that doesn't seem to permeate you at all. Like, the industry, like you see it firsthand. What is it about what everyone else is seemingly attracted to that you're just like, yeah, no, but we're gonna lift in the garage, and we got the facility right here. We're good. I don't need it. Like, what is it that, like, is there ever an issue? Is there ever a problem where or not problem, but is there ever a moment where you're just like, oh man, I could really blow up this online thing and stop all this in person? Or if that thought not crossed your mind?
It's definitely it not to stop it, but to find a way to capitalize on it. Like, I have my educational I guess your educational entity that I'm putting together. It's a smooth university. You know what I'm saying? I have certain components within my business from my online perspective that I'm putting together to where I'll be able to maximize my reach to touch more people. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I don't rush. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's some shit I've been working on for the past 3, 4, damn near 5 years, because it's a timing thing. Like, I have a whole glue ebook right now, a whole 25, 30 page glue ebook, 12-week program. I've been having that bitch done for a year. And like, people just, like, when you gonna put it out? When you gonna put it out? Like, bro, it's just timing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really need to evaluate the space, because the space needs to be able to appreciate it. You're going to have to read, and motherfuckers don't want to read no more. Well, goddamn.
That's what it
you,
is.
you know what I'm saying? But it's like, like, real shit. But aside from that, I'm not trying to leave being in person. I'm just trying to configure a way to have a better balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of my online clients who I've worked with before and athletes, I've been in person with them. And that's what made me different. I've actually flown out to them, or I've met them in a mutual location somewhere so we could get it in, so they really know the motherfucker behind the computer. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, yeah, you online, you get to do things at your leisure, at your convenience, whatever the case may be. But it's like, man, you know how many times motherfuckers come off in here and we talking about, like, real life shit? Like, just real life shit. Like, motherfuckers really got their back against the wall. I'm here to help. You know what I'm saying? And so I enjoyed it. I enjoy being able to go and break those things down and offer insight and offer perspective, because I dead ass care about you. I don't claim to be no therapist or none of that shit. No, I'm a coach, and I am a coach who cares about his athletes, who cares about his clients, his soldiers, his extended patients, whatever. I care. So it may be a day to where you going to go work out and you just need to talk. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, even when it comes to my sessions, like, when people ask, like, yo, how long does your sessions be? I'm like, 45 minutes to an hour. It depends. And they be like, well, what does it depend on? It depends on what I got to teach you. And it depends on how you feel. I don't never want you to feel rushed. You may come in, I may see you warming up, and you looking slow as hell. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Because the very first thing that I ask you when I see you is, how you doing? And I mean that shit. Don't ever, and this is a message to everybody. Don't ever ask somebody how they doing just to be kind. Ask that shit because you really mean it, bro. Because you don't know the words that's gonna come out their mouth. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the part of the in person that I really do enjoy, because I'm able to help people grow a lot more. Like, it's not just lifting weights to me. It's not just helping you look good and this, that, and the third. Like, it's really helping you grow to be a better person. Especially, like, with my young athletes, like, I have a role as a man to be a role model and a mentor, and to help you grow as a young man and as a young woman. And especially working with a lot of inner city, some of them, they may not have that father figure. You know what I'm saying? I may be that father figure. And that's not something that I take lightly. It is the same thing when it comes to the young women as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's something that they need. You get what I'm saying? So it just all goes back to what I said before. it's a whole different thing where you can really look a motherfucker in the eyes, bro. It's a whole different interaction, bro.
You're the one person who seems as if they would have a very specific client type. Like it's something that I find very paradoxical about you. It's one of the many reasons that I'm always drawn to. Like, I just watch all your stuff. I don't know, man. If you look at your story views, it's probably me. I think at first, there's fucking everyone else who doesn't follow you that watches your stuff. But then there's like, what is Smooth doing today? But it's when I think about like fitness, business, digital space, I think about this a lot. It's my livelihood. It's my job. And I think, and I watch coaches, I'll use an example of Jordan Junta. So Jordan Junta, you got into CrossFit when we were in school, crushed it, did really well. And then I watched all of the kids in our school go like, oh, like he's getting patients from the CrossFit world. And they all tried to like get into CrossFit, but like he wasn't in it for the like for the purpose of, like getting patients or whatever, clients. He just loved CrossFit. He was really good at it. People got into there poorly incentivized. And so it made sense to me, like, wow, Jay had a bunch of CrossFit people come to him. But it's like, I would, like, when I see the range of people that you train, I think that's always something that stands out for me, because you mentioned like the youth, male and female, right? You mentioned probably 15 different use cases, from like diabetics to pregnant women to military veterans to amputees. Like, what is like, one of the things they teach in business, fitness, whatever, I don't know who's teaching this stuff, but like, is like, pick your avatar, like who's your go, like, train basically an army of people that are exactly the same. And you seem to not have a single client. Like when I watch you train your clients online, you don't have anyone that looks even remotely similar to another person that you train. It is the strangest thing to see. Even in person, like when I was doing in person, like slowly started to gravitate to like the same person, whether or not I was deliberate or not. What is that? What is that?
It's the engineering me. Like dead for
Talk
real.
about it. Talk about it. What does that mean?
I get bored so fucking easy, bro. Like real shit. Like I need something challenging. That's why, like real shit, I really don't like doing general population. I had to create a spin on general population. That's why I led so much with the education component. I was in this bitch making motherfucking videos when motherfuckers still just up here posting pictures and shit. They not really wanting to sit down and educate. I knew that's what was gonna make me stand out. That's why people come to me, because you don't come to me for a session. You come to me for education. You get where I'm coming from? You are paying me for years of knowledge that I have to take and put it into 45 minutes to an hour. You're paying me for my ability to be able to take all of that and fit it into that time frame and express it in a way that it resonates with you. That's what you're paying me for. That's a uniquity. A lot of motherfuckers, they can't go in and crack a joke and be informative and be educated all in the same sentence. You have motherfuckers who they just are able to tell that joke. They got to be corny first, and then they got to switch modes, and then they got to talk, and then they got to switch mode, and so on and so forth. I love the challenge. I'm with the challenge, baby. I want the most fucked up person to come through my door. And I want to be able to take that fucked up person, and I'm going to ask you, what you want to do? Fuck what them doctors said, like goddamn all that. What do you want to do? What's some shit that you want to do that you think that you'll never be able to do? And they'll tell me. And I'll be like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. I just had my client this morning. We haven't deadlifted in over 3 years. Have not at all. The last time he deadlifted with me, he hit 315 for once. He done had about 5-6 surgeries between now and then. He just told me, he was like, hey, Smooth, I think I'm good. The end of October, I'm about to go ahead and cut ties. I think I got it. I said, okay, for sure. I said, well, let's bounce back to that deadlift, man. And then he started laughing. He was like, we going to get back to it? I said, yeah. I said, we going to deadlift. I said, you know why? He said, why? I said, because we motherfucking can. Just because we can. Why the fuck not? Let's go do it. So this morning, I was like, all right, bet. Let's go. 135, 2 sets of 10. Woo. 225, 2 sets of 10. Woo. Hit that 275. Give me 2. How you feel? You feel Gucci? You want to go up? All right, let's go up. 315, 5. Hey, you want to stop right here? You want 365? It's up to you, big dog. He was like, you know what, coach? I'll do anything you tell me. I was like, well, hey, man, tap that motherfucker. I said, just give me 1. He gave me 2. We ain't did this shit in 3. It's something about smooth fitness where it don't take me to do plenty to where for some reason we getting stronger on these exercises that we ain't touched in forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a maniac. It's a method to the madness in this bitch. You get what I'm saying? That's what I love. That's what makes me being able to have that challenge to really push myself. You know what I'm saying? That's how I spin the gen pop to where I can at least enjoy it because their goals are built aesthetically. Well, what happened when you look how you want to look? That bitch gonna stop. That's why everybody who is gen pop for me, I treat them as athletes. Hey, you better find a goddamn competition to get into. Matter of fact, fuck it, I'll do it with you. Very first thing they say, oh, well, I don't want to embarrass you. I don't give a fuck about them motherfuckers because I'm stronger than most of them anyway. If you not outlifting me, if you not smarter than me, if you ain't faster than me, I ain't hearing shit that you gotta say. This me and you. I don't give a fuck if we're the last ones to come through. I want to have fun with you. You are my client. You are my athlete. It's the wound to the tomb. It's a hell of jail. You know what I'm saying? So just the thrill of being able to have to problem solve, bro. That's something that motherfuckers really don't do no more. And I love that shit. Being able to just sit there and look at somebody's movement and say, why do you move like that? So like when I see people, I don't even just initially see a person. You feel me? I see a skeleton. Then I see the skeleton with the ligaments and the tendons. Then I see that skeleton with the ligaments and the tendons, then the muscle. And then with the nerves, then the blood vessel. I'm piecing this shit together because I'm literally problem solving. You're not supposed to be with me forever. You need to leave from me. I tell people, I want you to be with me the shortest fucking time that we possibly can while you learn the most that you possibly can. So that means that I have to problem solve my ass off to be able to get you to that point. Because you represent me when you don't come no more. And you better not embarrass me. I'll whoop your ass.
With where you're at in coaching now, you must get other coaches that reach out, right? Like, what is the advice that you most often find yourself giving to coaches who just want to have, do you just want to have like the energy that you have about the thing that they do? Like, what is you find yourself like, what are what's the problems that you see the most often in the coaching space right now? And what is your, like your go-to solutions that you find yourself like, yo, bro, like you're focusing on the wrong thing. You got to get with this. You're going about this all wrong. Like, how do you approach that conversation?
It's a couple of things, but one thing that I tell them is stay true to yourself. Know who you are. Be able to look in the mirror and say, I love me. Be able to say, I am beautiful. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. And be able to say, I am the best. Because you're not going to be the best if you're not telling yourself that you are the best. You got to speak all that shit into existence. And you say that shit every day in the mirror. When I wake up, I say that. When I lay down, I say that. Be thankful for the opportunity that you have to even help people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big ass responsibility. And I be telling these cats, I'm like, bro, I commend any person who comes to me, and you should too, because for a motherfucker to come to you and say, I do not know, that is the strongest fucking phrase that you can say. I don't know. And I'm literally taking my life and I'm placing it in your hands. That's a big fucking deal, bro. And that should let you know how special of a coach or a trainer, whatever the fuck you call yourself, that should let you know how special you are on some G shit. You know what I'm saying? We talk about that, and I tell them, fuck a trend. Ain't no trends. I tell them, I said, you came to me for a reason, asking me for advice. If you look at my page, I literally go the opposite way from what's trending. I talk about what I know that people need to know, not what everybody else talks. I'm not no goddamn parakeet. Because everybody be saying the same shit. There's only so many different ways you can say it. And even if I address a topic that is common, I find something to address the other individuals or not. And that's what makes me stand out. Find what's going to make you stand out. Don't be like everybody else because you're categorizing yourself. You're putting yourself on a list with somebody. And if you want to carry yourself in any type of way similar to how I do, then fuck a list. Because I'm the one. Ain't no 2 or 3. Goddamn, it's one. And that's it. So, and study, bro. You know what I'm saying? I tell them, like, when I was in undergrad, dog, like, I lifted with my professors. I went to lunch with my professors. I really kicked it with my professors. Like Dr. Andrews from Jacksonville State University in Alabama, my exercise physiologist and biomechanics professor, we kick shit like for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I stayed up, I taught myself how to go ahead and research and how to read case studies and different meta-analysis of visuals and like all that. I just look them hoes up. And I just be like, I bring it to my professor. I be like, hey, woo, this, that, the third. He be like, you on to the right track, but look at it like this right here. I be like, I bet. I'll come back. And I'll come back later that day, or I'll come back the next day, and I'll break that shit down. He be like, boom, there you go. So I put myself in situations where I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And like even what I did coming down there to, you know what I'm saying, to Florida, when you and Pat, when y'all was doing the biomechanics seminar, I came down there, one, because I fuck with you. I wanted to meet you in person. I wanted to meet Pat. But then two, if I'm the smartest person in the room, every time I get in the room, that means I ain't pushing myself. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got in the room with y'all, like I shut the fuck up and I listen, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I really said, nah, bro, like they spit knowledge, like on some G shit. You know what I'm saying? Like really push yourself, like understand that this shit goes past school, bro. A lot of shit that you learn in school, like you half the shit, you know, I don't give a fuck nobody say half that shit in that goddamn textbook, you ain't gonna fucking use. And the other half that you do use, you gotta get out there in them goddamn trenches. I learned more outside of school than I did in school, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one that I always tell somebody, hey, bro, go to school. Like, do your thing, learn whatever. But I was so hungry for knowledge, school wasn't doing it for me no more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like, you really got to push yourself and you really got to apply yourself because anything can happen with any of the people who you working with. You know what I'm saying? So I was talking to one person who, you know, they was asking me for advice, you know, whatever the case may be. And I gave them a scenario that I had to deal with one of my clients. And I told him, I was like, hey, bro, I was like, because they was just like, why do I need to know all this stuff? Like, I just need to know how to be able to coach people, how to be able to train people. And I said, that right there is the reason why you are going to have a very short career because you do not know what's going to walk through your door. You know what I'm saying? If somebody has a stroke on the fucking floor, I had somebody go into labor in my old apartment complex in the gym that I used to be at. That was down. They went into fucking labor, dog. Yeah, you're about to catch that motherfucker like a football. Like, you need to know, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I had somebody, I was in the gym, I was in the powerhouse here in Chattanooga, and Shorty, she kept talking about her blood pressure. She was like, man, I keep going to these neurologists and I'm going to these cardiologists and can't nobody figure shit out what's going on. And I was just like, well, let's take your blood pressure. And we took her blood pressure and I bullshit you not. That motherfucker was 239 over 196. I was like, it ain't no fucking way. I said, they don't even show us this in the books. And we retested 4 times. And that shit kept coming up. And I'm telling dude this, and he's just like, oh my gosh, like, what did you do? I'm just like, I told her, come here. I said, come here for a second. I said, turn around. Cause I know, I said, come here. And I just started rubbing right here. Started rubbing that. I started digging a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. She was like, oh shit, that shit feel good as hell. I said, okay, hold on. Go retest. That motherfucker went down. I was like, has anybody palpated you? She said, what's that? I said, God damn. I said, anybody who you went to, have they actually put their hands on you to assess you? Not just on one side, but bilaterally. So they do this side and they do that side. She said, no. I said, that's the fucking problem. And I told the dude who was asking me for the advice, I said, that's why you fucking study. That's why you do. I don't give a fuck how many letters you got behind your goddamn name, in front of your name. Everybody don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? But you push yourself to get to the closest that you possibly can. Because you never know how you can help somebody, dog. Now she has context. So now when she goes back to the doctor, now she can speak more intelligently. You understand what I'm saying? People need to know how to be able to advocate for themselves, and that's the positions that we're in, that advocacy. You teach people how to properly communicate. You teach them how to ask questions. They don't know what to ask if you don't teach them how to ask shit. You dig what I'm saying? So when I told him that, he was like, hey, Smooth. He was like, man, ain't nobody ever explained it to me like that. I really appreciate that. I said, don't ever let somebody discourage you from wanting to go study or wanting to go pick up a book or wanting to go to a seminar. You know what I'm saying? I was like, people look at me all the time and they did, damn, like, why you be studying so much? Like, damn, you still going to seminars? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like when I go down there with y'all, I'll be like, yeah, like, I had to go down here for this. And it's be like, but you're so intelligent. And I'm like, and these motherfuckers smack me. So yeah, I'm about to go down here and I'm about to get jiggy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like just be appreciative of the opportunity when you get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of the things that I tell, like either whether they new or whether it's somebody who's been in it for a little minute and they come and they reach out. Those are some of the things I talk to them about.
What do you? I mean, you've been around for a long time. You've been doing this at a high level in person and
14,
online.
14 years.
What do you like? What's your like? What do you set your sights on? Like, what does the next 14 years for you look like? Like, how do you there's less and less rooms where you're not going to be the smartest guy in it. Like, what is your trajectory? What like how much thought or energy do you put into stuff like that? Like future proof and smooth fitness. Like what is the next 4, 5, 10, 14 years look like?
Doing what you do, but doing it better.
Way
Real
better, way better, so much better. It's like
But
so much unbelievably better.
like with all respect, no, but like, yeah, like, bro, like when I talk to people and I tell them about you, I'm like, bro, this is literally at the time that I met you, I'm like, this is the only motherfucker I know who has extensive knowledge with the human body and extensive knowledge within engineering. And I'm like, and that's literally what I've based my whole fucking career off of. That is the base, kinesiology and mechanical engineering. Because a lot of people don't know why I went mechanical engineering. I did that for biomechanics. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I had that blend. So like the next 14 years doing what you do, but on a better scale. That's why I watch you. That's why I study you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really talk to you. That's why we doing what we do right now. So I'm just like, what's bro doing? You know what I'm saying? And what's a way that I can do it to that capacity and that caliber? And then what can I do that I see that he may not have done? And then also, how can I put my own uniquity on it? You know what I'm saying? And building out my facility. You know, getting my clinicians in there, getting my sports massage therapists in there, getting my trusted strength coaches that I want in there. You know what I'm saying? Like getting the different individuals to make it a motherfucking powerhouse, because you can't do it by yourself. And that's the reason why I've been able to learn so much and know so much, is because I've gone off into different fields. You know what I'm saying? Like working trauma, like I went off in the hospital. I'm like, hey, bro, hey, what I need to do to get off in here, whatever I need to do to get off in here, or get y'all to outsource patients to me, tell me that. What do I need to know? What level of education I need to have, or what level of competency do I need to have to where y'all could trust me with X, Y, Z, and I'm gonna come back. And that's what I did. And I started building a team. So yeah, I still may be trapping out the garage right now, but I have a team. And when that shit, when the building gets built, all I gotta do is put motherfuckers in position. And it's like, you get your bread, you get your bread, you get your bread. We all get our bread. You know what I'm saying? So next 14 years for me, it looks like that. Building out that facility, making sure that I have the proper individuals in there who love this shit. Like, love this shit so much, like, you do it for free if it came down to it. If I know you love it that much, then you the type motherfucker who I want off in my shit. You know what I'm saying? And just staying connected with the individuals who I'm connected with right now, because that's even more of the way that I'm going to grow and learn more. Like, a lot of this shit, when it comes to business, you know just as well as I do, they don't teach us about no goddamn business shit in school. Like, school of hard knocks, bitch. You better go figure it out. So it's like just watching you move and maneuver. I've learned a lot about the business just watching you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like, you come to my page and you look at my content because you admire it. It's likewise, like, I study your shit. Like, I'll literally go listen to a whole video. I'll look at that caption. Bro, like, especially when you first started the podcast. When you first started the podcast, bro, I used to, this one of the notebooks too, like real shit, this one right here. But I got about 5, I'm bullshitting, I lied. I got 6 notebooks that's dedicated to your podcast. Swear, if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I still got 10 toes down. And I listen to that podcast and I take notes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I do, because the next 14 years of my life, I want to be able to build that I want to be able to strengthen the establishment of that legacy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Dude, I'm here for it, man. And when that fucking building goes up, I want to be there when you cut the fucking ribbon, dog.
Oh, you already know. Hey, as soon as that motherfucker start breaking ground, you getting the phone call, bro.
Dude,
Like,
go get a shovel. Get down here. We're breaking ground, motherfucker. Get your ass to work. Be about all I'm useful for. Digging fucking
real shit.
holes.
Real
Nah, man.
shit. But
Dude, I appreciate you taking the time, dog. Like the just getting to know you over the years, getting to follow what you do. Like, I got into it. I always tell people, like, I got into it to get the respect of people that no one's ever heard of. And this is like Poliquin and stuff like that, right? Like, I go into it, I go to conferences now and I ask kids, and like, one of the first things, and you know this better than anyone, like whether it's with clients or people you talk to, like, who do you follow? What content do you digest? Like, what do I have to unteach to then teach you? Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And, I say that to people all the time. It's like, look, I want the respect of very few people. And, and I say it, and like, have said it in the past about guys like Poliquin or guys like Charlie Francis from the track and field world. And like, your name is on that list, my friend. And it's just like to see you, well, because you're about the thing, right? Like, you're about the work. And that's like, you're about, like, everyone wants to get out. Like, they're doing a bid. Everyone wants to get out. It's like, what are you going to do after? Why are you trying to get out of training? Like, why do you want to not train people? I have things that have pulled me away, but every chance I get, it costs me money to train people now. I got to get, like, oh, yo, you're free for a week? Dude, I'm coming in. We'll do it. Right. So it's like watching you move and like you seeing where you've like, dude, I watch every one of those 10, 15-minute videos. You're propping it up on the cabinet, on the floor in the kitchen. And I'm like, this guy has got it, man. Like, and to see you now, like, you got the office chair, you look like you're about to go on a fucking NASCAR track. You got the paint, the two-tone, and to build out a facility, man. Like, it just reminds me that, like, there's still people out there that are about it, man. And it's few and far between. And dude, I appreciate every day I see a smooth post or a smooth text. I'm like, man, there's still hope. There's still hope. We're going to make it. We're going to be all right. So I appreciate you taking the time, man. This has been big.
I appreciate that, man. Real shit. Thank you. And likewise, man. I appreciate you, man.